I get a phone call and we got to pause. I'm sorry. Did you get that?
Yes.
Oh. I'm sorry.
And it's all good.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, Hottie Nation.
Welcome back. This is episode...
Dus. Yeah.
Yeah, episode 2.
So,
it's out.
we can't really... Well, we can't. What's the hottest thing you did this week?
I survived. I think that's really hot of me.
Amen.
Yeah, I survived and I didn't have any MTBs.
Mm-hmm.
Mental breakdowns.
Okay.
You never heard someone say, like, I'm about to have an MTB. Mental breakdown.
Never heard that. I was just like, hey, and I'm with you.
Yeah, no, your support means the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. So I made it through the week without having an absolute come apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what about you?
It didn't happen this week, but it happened like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Quit calculus. Dropped it.
Good for you.
Hey, is it going to put me out another semester? Yeah, but guess what? I don't have 25.
Listen, I had to do the same thing with experimental psychology because it's putting psychology and statistics together.
Yeah, no.
And that, like, I've had to redo it twice.
Mm-mm.
Like, and I'm a math person, but that just does not.
I knew the moment I needed to quit calculus was when I made a 10 on a test. Like, when I say, like, a test. And I said, oh. I seen it, and I was like, right. I said, so you mean to tell me I got half of a question right?
And you know what?
I didn't even get a full question right.
But, bestie, that half of the question you got, the whole 10 points of that half. That's what's up.
Was I beside myself? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I think of ending it all? Yeah. Did I have a 25 in the class? Yeah. And did my professor hate me? Probably.
Right.
But guess what? I'm hot.
You know what? You know what I gotta say about that? Lockjaw. Okay. You know what I gotta say about that? Like,
you wouldn't get it.
And you don't.
And I filled out that withdrawal form, and when I tell you 2 hours after, it was removed from my campus.
And another thing is, tell me one hot person that can do calculus.
Exactly. Watch me be able to do calculus when I take it.
Like,
I'll be like, hey.
Hot people pay other people
to
do calculus.
And that's why I was paying ChatGPT to to teach me.
Right.
And did ChatGPT get me a 10 on a test? Yeah. Was it embarrassing for me because I was outside studying before the test? Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Did I go in confident?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. But hey, you know, sometimes confidence, especially in this situation,
is key.
Well, sometimes it's all you have.
Apparently, that's all you got.
Sometimes, you know, the confidence, it's really the only thing you got, babe.
Because the brain cell,
it ain't it. And you know what?
That's okay.
Calculus is hard.
And it's okay.
And
it's
also,
okay. You can't be good at everything.
Who puts 2 C's in that order in the same
word?
Calculus? That's disgusting.
Exactly. I want to gag.
Right. I'm sick. I'm sick talking about it. We have to change subject. I'm sick talking about it. We cannot reschedule this.
I thought trig was bad.
Right. No.
And I barely passed that. I made a C. A 70.
Oof.
Like, right at the cutoff.
Hey, but you know what?
I thought I was going to have to sleep with her.
Oh.
I was to the point. I was about to message her. Hey. You want me?
Hey, if you're flirting with me, just be open about it.
Hey.
You ain't gotta fail me.
Just give me a C.
Hey, are you just looking for a reason to talk to me?
Hey, because note taken.
Hey, because you know what? I'll talk to you.
Checkmate.
too funny.
Hey, this is trig.
Hey.
We're not playing.
We're not playing
We're not playing chess.
We're not playing chess.
I almost said checkers.
You know what? But calculus is definitely more of chess. Pre-algebra,
Checkers.
checkers.
Mm-hmm.
Calculus, chess.
8th grade math.
8th grade math,
Dominoes.
dominoes. Right.
Not even like how you play dominoes, stacking them up and knocking them over.
Right. But no, me and that calculus.
Could never.
Even me and my calculator in calculus sometimes. All three of us just looking at each other like the Spider-Man meme. All pointing at each other. It's just me, my classwork, and my calculator like, okay, what's your next move? Like, I'm statistically not taking statistical methods. Because I'm going to have to take that in a summer where I can dedicate 8 weeks to that. Because it's putting statistics and psychology together. And creating, like, it's insane.
You know what's embarrassing, though?
What?
Is my calculus wasn't regular calculus. It was calculus with analytical geometry.
Right.
But on Canvas it said anal geometry. And I said, oh, so I'm failing anal. So I'm failing anal?
Oh, so I'm failing anally. Got it.
So, guys, my anus is struggling. My anus has a 25.
You guys, I dropped out of my anus this week.
Guys, I have a 25 in anal. Guys, I made a 10 on my anal test.
Guys, my anal professor's the worst.
Guys, I had to look up how to do anal on ChatGPT.
And it told me the wrong way.
And I made a 10, guys.
And I made a 10.
I got half of a point. Half
on
of a question.
Anal.
Half of a question right on anal, guys.
Guys, it's a problem.
So I had to drop anal.
Oh.
Can't do anal no more.
Can't do You know what? I've been out of college for a while now, so I'm just not really in the anal business anymore.
Me and anal, not friends.
No.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Moving on. Moving on. Moving on from the nether regions.
Oh, gosh.
What's your hyperfixation of the week?
Hyperfixation this week. SNL. Which, I mean, that honestly, it's probably been a hyperfixation for like 2 months now. Because I've always liked SNL, but it's like I'll go back. Because I have Peacock now. Plugging Peacock for a moment for free. You're welcome.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored, but you know what? Sponsor us.
Yeah. Because think of the Hotties podcast Peacock edition.
Oh, that would be fun.
Peacock Katy Perry edition.
Ooh, okay, period. You know, one day you and I will be hanging out with Trixie and Katya. And they're going to be like, wow, you guys are like the great value version of us, but with hair. And we'd be like,
yeah.
And our teeth are real. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And we're not in drag. But we would be.
We would be. I was
we
going to say,
would be for that episode.
For that episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, the thing is you guys would look great, and then I'd dead ass look like a Lego next to y'all. They'd be like, who put this peach right here? Someone has misplaced the family dog. What is she doing?
I could never. I would feel so insecure.
Oh no, I feel like I would feel right at home with Trixie and Katya.
I mean, I would, but I would feel also insecure. Because they're so talented.
As are you. Are you kidding me? We could sit at the table with them. They would think we're so funny. We're going to have to pause. We were doing SNL. I was talking about SNL.
SNL, hyperfixations.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we had to take a little pause.
Sorry.
My hyperfixation. Cologne.
Okay, but what's your favorite scent right now?
Oh my god.
Like, we can't say cologne and you're not telling me, like, what your... Ooh, that is really nice.
That is called... It's one by Versace. Okay. And I can't think of what it's... I'm gonna F it up.
That's it.
I'm gonna F it up.
It's called... This is the scent by Versace.
Versace.
Imagine that commercial. Versace.
Us.
Buy today.
Us. Oh, the Versace.
Available at your local JCPenney's.
Just soft music. And it's like, scent, smell, Versace. Oh.
Ever since my van bought Versace, I haven't been able to keep my paws off him.
Make sure you try Versace. Oh. That's what it is. Versace man. Ooh, fracachika.
Versace man. Oh, frache.
Frache. But it's so good.
I love that froshy.
I love that frachy.
That Frenchie?
That Frenchie?
That Versace Frenchie?
That frappe?
Love a frappe.
That Versace frappe?
That Versace frappe. Oh my god.
Chef's kiss.
Love it.
Versace kiss.
Versace kiss. Barista kiss.
Hershey kiss.
Hershey kiss. Let's talk about that chocolate.
Okay, so today's topic. It's gonna go deep.
I'm excited.
Because it's talking about hot takes and self-worth.
I love that.
Because you gotta know your value as a hottie.
You really do. And sometimes it's a struggle. It's a path.
Because what is our motto? What is our motto? The Hottie podcast, where the tea is hot and the confidence is hotter, and settling is the last season.
It really is.
And you've got to know your value. Mm-hmm. Because settling,
That's not what we do.
It's out.
Yeah, well, and it's also like, what's the point of settling?
It's disgusting.
I mean, it is. I've done it. You know what I mean?
It's like, hey, it's disgusting. It's inhumane. I've done it. Hey, it's about the lowest thing you can do as a human. I've done it.
And you know what? I can say it because been there.
Hey, doing it.
Hey, that's you, not me.
Throwing my phone. Got it.
Listen. No, my thing was I did it. It took me years to rebuild and find myself again. Mm-hmm. And now I can finally say I'm in a really happy and healthy relationship. So, like, it does pay off, but I did have to do, like, 7 years of reflection and work and getting through hurt, because I took kind of a hard path with the healing. But, you know, reflecting on it and going to therapy and figuring out how to talk to myself. That's something that I really enjoy, and that's why I started psychology. So this topic is actually, like, really fitting, and I'm glad that it's deep and it's on this, because it should be talked about more. We all kind of are out here, you know, faking confidence and faking things, when, like, the truth is, like, if you just take a moment to reflect, you really do find out, like, okay, like, maybe I really am a hottie. Like, maybe I really am a baddie whenever I look at everything from an outside point of view. So, I love this topic.
And that's where I've been at recently, which is crazy. Because, like, we're both in that mindset as of now, but, like, we didn't come up with this topic.
No.
Hey, ChatGPT.
Hey, ChatGPT.
Sponsor?
Right.
Question mark?
This is now the ChatGPT
podcast
where we just let ChatGPT decide what we're going to talk about. And honestly, they nailed it this week.
As long as they're not writing the script for us.
Right. No,
hey, they're not doing that.
But I say that the outline.
They
thank you.
Thank you, because we need it. We did it. ADHD.
ADHD.
I got 80 of them.
Right. 80 of them HDs, okay? Like,
amen, hallelujah. Thank you.
Amen. I love some synonym rolls.
But for real though.
Yeah.
Knowing your worth, you got to put a price tag on your energy.
Yup.
That's a big thing right now for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is where I'm putting my energy. Because I think, as of now, I'm putting my energy into topics and people that don't matter.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say don't matter. Shouldn't matter as much as I make them.
Right.
Like, they're not putting the energy towards me that I'm putting towards them.
Right.
And that's okay. And it's okay for me. And I need to know that that's okay.
Right.
For them, hey, loss. It's your loss, hon.
Right. When it's also like something that I also think about is, you know, it's that traditional thing we're told growing up of like people come and go for seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like there have been people that I've been close with for, you know, 3 or 4 years, and then one morning I wake up and I realize we haven't talked in like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have that moment of like, okay, was that friendship and relationship really pouring into me if I've noticed how much it's gone?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me, I noticed the relationships I missed the most that I noticed that weren't there anymore were the ones that were actually the most unhealthy for me. Because my healthiest relationships are relationships where like we don't have to talk every day, but we do check in like once or twice a week and make sure, you know, but the detrimental friendships that I especially had in my early 20s, whenever I really started reflecting and I really started sorting things out, I noticed that my big group of friends had dwindled down to like maybe 5 or 6 really, really close friends, and then that dwindled down to like 4. And then whenever I got into a healthier place, I've started to add more friends to my close inner circle, but it's been person by person there I see, you know, like, okay, they're genuine. I can be this level of vulnerable in front of them. I can, you know, be my true authentic self, and I don't have to put on this face of, oh yeah, I'm cool, I'm fun, I'm chill, everything's going great in my life. So like, I think it's realizing whenever you figure out more of who you are, that's whenever the true friends like you and you know, like Riley and like Reagan, you know, I met all those people after the healing. And so like I have you guys, but I also have my friends that I've been friends with for majority of my life that have seen every season. So I also think it depends on how much effort and how much time both parties are willing to put into a friendship, because there are going to be times where like friendships aren't on the same priority list, if that makes sense. And it's got nothing to do with the friendship or the person. It's just what's happening in someone's life. It's is someone going to be a priority?
See, and I know like for one of mine, it's like that priority thing, it just never was.
Right.
And it never is for them. So it's like to the point where I'm like, is it something that I want to keep? Because if it's giving me this much mental stress and mental anguish, is it needed? Because I have so much other stuff that I have to do and focus on and put my energy towards, but I shouldn't be the one to have to reach out all the time. If you did me wrong, I shouldn't be the one to have to talk first.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And I also will say this. I think, again, it boils down to both parties wanting to put the effort in. Because there have been friendships that, like, I would have gone to battle for.
Mm-hmm.
And that person would just be like,
No.
nah, you know, like, it's just, you know, it's not top priority. And, like, it would hurt. It would really suck. And it would hurt my feelings for a while because I'm also, like, as much as I love to joke around and, you know, crack jokes, I'm also a deeply emotional person. So, like, if I've formed what I feel like is a bond with someone and I realize it's not reciprocated at the same level, there's also kind of this, and maybe it's just me, but there's also kind of the, like, this little level of, like, embarrassment of, like, oh, I thought this was a little bit more deep than what it was.
I got very vulnerable.
Right. Like, I kind of opened up my whole world to you, but then I started.
But you were looking through a window.
Right. Right. Like,
hey, I left the door open. You were still standing outside.
Right. It's kind of like, okay, I was humming a melody and you really messed up the lyrics. Like, I was humming a good melody and you didn't catch the hook. Like, but then I started...
You fell flat, went on a different bridge.
Right. Like, but I kind of look at my social life now as, like, the Target logo. Mm-hmm. You know how it has, like, the single red solid dot in the middle, and then it has 2 red rings? That's kind of how I classify the people in my life now. That way I don't care as heavily. Mm-hmm. Like, my inner circle... Those people know who they are. You guys know who you are. The outer ring, those are my friends. Like, the inner core, those are my great, close, diehard friends. The outer ring, those are my friends. Those are my friends that I'll still hang out with, that still know things about my life, and I know things about theirs, and we can hang out and, you know, love each other the day is long. But I know those aren't the people that are going to know every single detail of my life. And then I have my outer ring, which are my acquaintances. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people laugh all the time. They're like, you really do know everybody, don't you? Yeah, I do. And it's because I'm polite to everybody. But I am picky and choosy about who I let completely in. And it's not a reflection of another person. It's just sense of humor, morals, what we have in common, how we jive together. It's like you and I talked about on the last episode. You did a Debbie Ryan thing my way, and before you knew it, you and I were eating meals together. You know what I mean? Like, some friendships just work. I feel like, especially in a situation where you weren't the one to do something wrong, you shouldn't be the first one to reach out. But yeah, but it's because you were the bigger person in the situation. Yeah. Like, just because you care more than the other person doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you more willing to be transparent and vulnerable. And if anything, it's more of a perk on your side for not being afraid to be like, own up. Like, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
And I think it's the fact of the elephant hasn't been looked at. Hey, the elephant's in the corner and we're looking the other way. And it's the fact of, like, there's knowledge that it happened. There's knowledge that there's tension, but they're not willing to, I guess, apologize or try to make it right or do something to fix the situation.
But then that begs the question, is that the answer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's completely up to you to decide, like, do I have the time?
At this point, I don't even think an apology would fix it.
Right. Because
it's been so long.
It's been festering for so long. And the thing is like, people, we like to say, you know, forgive and forget. And turn the other cheek and things like that, which are all really great life lessons to live by and go for. But goodness gracious, the Lord only gave you 2 cheeks. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like,
I can only turn it so many times.
And at what point do I set the boundary of, okay, you are no longer a best friend or you're no longer a friend. Now you're an acquaintance.
See, and that's what, like, that whole analogy that you said with the Target sign, like, I think at this point that friendship is a floater because I don't know where to place them.
Yeah.
Because when you think that you're going to place them in the center, then they do something and you're like, oh, now I got to place them in the outer ring. And then they do something else and you're like, do I place them in the outer ring?
Right.
Because at that point, you're like, I don't want to keep getting hurt.
Right.
For mental reasons, I've got to pick if I want them as a friend or an acquaintance.
Right.
Or a best friend.
Right. Well, and I mean, I'll give this example because I found out, this past week, I was on the other side of that because I was really close with this friend of mine for a couple of years. And, at one point last year, we stopped talking as much. And I finally got to talk to her this week, and I was like, dude, I've missed you. And she was like, yeah, man, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have ghosted you as a friend. Because, I tried to reach out to her. She was like, I shouldn't have ghosted you as a friend. I was just going through a lot at the moment. And I felt like I needed to take a moment to evaluate the relationships in my life to figure out what was good for me and what wasn't. Mm-hmm. And I should have communicated that with you, and I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. All's good, homie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to say, well, you owed me some sort of XYZ, because when it comes to your mental health and you figuring out what's going on with you, I'm not going to tell you how to handle that. But what I will say is, if you are in that situation, like, definitely reach out to whoever it is and say, like, hey, this has nothing to do with you per se. I'm going through it, and I'm really trying to sort out what friendships are healthy for me and which ones aren't. Mm-hmm. But the lack of communication, I think, is what's bothering you the most.
That's it.
So, yeah, no, I get it. A lack of communication.
Because I thrive off communication.
All hotties do.
Like, that's my number one thing in a friendship.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going through it, I want to be able to text you and know that you're going to reply.
Right.
Or at least give me some sort of, I'm here for you kind of thing.
Right. And even if it's not I have the exact words for comfort, it's you know what? I'm here for you in your corner. Mm-hmm. And you're right. What you're going through really sucks. Sometimes just someone saying, like, yeah, man, that's really crappy. Sometimes that's really all you need. Mm-hmm. It's just someone to say, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I would be annoyed too. Like, but some people just don't. I'm over here shivering. I could have just turned off the fan. I'm like, I'm so cold. I could just turn off the fan. But yeah, no, I mean, and because I know which relationship you're talking about, you and I have talked about it a couple of times. I absolutely agree with trying to salvage it. But at the same time, are you breaking your back trying to carry the weight of a friendship that someone doesn't even care to really acknowledge or help maintain?
Yeah. It's like if this friendship was a trophy, an award.
Right.
And it was made of glass. Like, we're toting it together, but they drop their side and it hits the ground. But I'm the only one picking up the pieces.
Right.
To glue it back together.
Right. And not only that, while you're picking up the pieces to glue it back together, you're still carrying your half so that half doesn't shatter.
Mm-hmm. And then when I finally get it back together, they pick up their side just to drop it again.
Right.
And you're like, hey,
that's kind of unfair.
Mm-hmm. Like, why would I put so much energy into something that's I'm not getting anything out of?
Well, and I think sometimes people don't necessarily look at a friendship the way they should, because, like, whenever we think of a relationship, we usually think it in terms of, like, a romantic relationship, and friendships are still considered relationships because there are two different sides of it. And while some friendships are natural, like even my closest friends that I've told you I've been friends with for years, we've had fights. We've had disagreements. We've had times where they have said, Abby, what are you doing? What are you doing? And they've held me accountable, and like I said, and I've hated it. But I've also doubled down and come back and been like, hey, that thing we were talking about, you were right. You were right, and I should have listened. And it was never met with a, yeah, I told you so. Or I hate I was right. It was just a, yeah, that was really painful to watch you go through, but I'm here for you. And that's what it means to be a friend. Like, you can call somebody out. You can say, hey, I don't like how you did this. I don't agree with that. Like, my friend Kristen, biggest cheerleader for me that I've ever really been around. The first one to be like, hey, girl, where's your brain? Where's your brain on that one? And it, like, sometimes I'm like, dang, she's right. You know what I mean? Like, it hurt to hear, but like, she was right. But that's what I desire in a friend, is someone who's going to shoot straight with me.
And I think this one friendship is the one and only that I don't know where I stand.
Right. And that's unfair to you.
Like, I know where I stand with you. I know where I stand with, like, friends that I went to high school with. I know, like, other theater friends. Like, I know where I stand with them. But there's just that one where I'm just like, hey, are we friends today?
Right. Well, and it's hard to disregard and look away from and just be nonchalant about, because I think you and I are similar in the aspect of, like, if there's a problem, address it, fix it as well as you can, and move forward and hope for the best. It's really hard. It goes back to the glass trophy situation. Like, it's really hard to take care of both sides of such a delicate relationship. And all relationships are delicate.
And I'm just a confrontation person. Like, I will...
Same. I'm the confrontational person, too. A lot of people hate confrontation. It gives me anxiety in some situations, for sure.
Approaching it.
Right.
But in it, I'm just like, hey.
Right. The confrontation itself doesn't bother me. It's, okay, how am I going to address it? Because my thing is, with my personality, it's very direct. And sometimes I have to control the, okay, don't sugarcoat it too much. Because sometimes I do that, and they're like, oh, she's just being really nice. And I'm like, actually, we're talking about something real right now, and I'm just being really nice about it. And then there are other times where people are like, hey, Abby, your eyes are doing that thing, and the way you're smiling right now, scary. Like, Grace Ann has told me, I think at least 3 times over the past year, she's like, I love you, but the way you're smiling at me is really scaring me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just really stressed out. Like, it has nothing to do with you. She's like, yeah, it's alarming. So, like, I'm a person where, like, what's on my mind. You can tell in my body language.
I feel that 100%. Like, I know all of my friends are like, we can tell when you're mad because the tension in the room. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah. And they're like, it radiates off of you. Like, heat. When I tell you, I will start sweating when I get mad. Yeah. Because the heat that comes off of my body, astronomical.
And my thing, like, my entire face, red. I won't even realize it's happening, but, like, my cheeks will get red, and, like, I'll feel calm. But, like, my body is shaking. I have red patches in my face, and I'm like, I'm really annoyed. I need to get out of here now. But it's also one of those things where it's like, well, if someone would address it, we can talk about it. Like, the whole reason I'm as frustrated as I am is I know if I'm the one to bring it up right now, things probably aren't going to go well.
Hey, and that's how it is with the situation.
Yeah.
Because I know if I was to address it,
right.
Hey, I would get blocked.
Hey, and you know what? That goes back to communication. Because if they would have communicated in the beginning when you tried. Right. But the thing is you've already tried. Like, that is one thing I will say about relationships. A lot of people are like, don't give up on people. Don't, like, believe the best.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to, and it's painful and it sucks.
But it's what's best for you and your mental health. You have to.
Right. Like, I'm sure that some of the friendships that I've had that have ended or dwindled out, as much as I hate to say it, I am human, I'm not perfect. I'm sure a handful of them over my life have had something to do with me, or the way I've handled something, or the decision I've made, or something like that. And to that I say, valid.
Yeah.
Valid. It might not have been a decision that you would have made. I'm sure in retrospect there are a lot of decisions that I did make that I would have done differently. But I also believe that cancer in your life will weed its way out. Maybe this is, God or the universe, or however we want to address it. Maybe it's God's way of, saying like, hey, this ain't for you as much as you want it to be. And I'm protecting you and saving you from this kind of hurt that's 10 times magnified, 3 or 4 years down the road. Because I'll be honest, there's no way that friendship would have been long term. Because also, and I know they know who we're talking about, and I'll say it with my chest, the quality of character between that person and you, not even on the same playing field. Never has been. And you know that. You would be settling in that friendship because, like, let's think about it. Think about it this way. Let's say right now, in this moment, you get a text on your phone that says, hey, I've really been thinking about it. What I did was so messed up. Please forgive me. Let's get dinner tomorrow night. The first thing, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, the first thing that would come out of your mouth is you'd be like, first of all, that's weird. That's strange. Whoa.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can already predict what would come out of your mouth in that, because that is the pattern. And so, I'm never going to tell you not to pursue a friendship. But I will say, I think that one in particular is not healthy for where you're at right now.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. Not that you asked for it, but I mean, like, that's my opinion on it. Is you could spend that time hanging out with people that don't leave you hanging. And it took me a while to learn that. Me acting like I'm so much older than you. It took me a while in my younger years, but I did solve it. We're only a few years apart, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it's okay.
I think I've just put so much value in stock. Not even in that just one friendship, in so many friendships and I think that's what I like about doing theater, is you get to meet so many people, and some of them amazing people,
right?
Wonderful people, and then there's some that are just like, how on earth did our paths cross?
Right.
And when you put so much energy and effort into a friendship, just for it to dwindle out in a blink of an eye is so, I guess, not humbling, but like,
right.
You're just like, oh,
right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, whenever reality comes knocking at the door, like for me, a lot of people talk about, will you really find out who your friends are whenever you get pregnant or whenever you're getting married or and all that kind of stuff. So, like, as someone who has been down those roads before, like, I was in a situation where, like, my relationship was not the best. I didn't have many friends.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I got pregnant with Oliver, all of those friends that I was like, like, do they really like me? Like, I'm still friends with those two girls to this day. Mm. Have matching tattoos with one of them, and one of them designed my other tattoo. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, so I truly do believe that if you're true to yourself, mm-hmm. Your people will find you. Mm-hmm. But I also believe that some relationships are work.
Yeah.
Like, there are friends that I have where we're yin and yang. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, like, there's a little bit of work that comes into it, but some people are worth it. Mm-hmm. I just don't think this person is worth it. Like,
which I'm never a person to hold hatred. Not saying it.
Right.
Y'all would think that I hate this person.
Right.
But,
no.
More of a...
You won't hold grudges.
Yeah, like, I'm not a person to hold grudges. And that's why I think I am so emotionally attached. Because I'm just like, hey, I want to resolve it.
Right.
I want to resolve it for me.
Yeah.
I want it to be okay. Because I don't want to sit there and it be taxing.
Right.
For me.
Right. Well, and it shouldn't be, and you do owe it to yourself to do that. I just don't want to see you get frustrated if that closure is not offered, because I'm also someone who gets emotionally attached and invested that doesn't necessarily hold grudges. Like, I don't forget what you did.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
I'll
forgive.
But I won't forget.
Best believe I got them receipts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll forgive for a little bit.
Right.
Oh, will I bring it up later?
Probably so. Probably so. And even if it's I bring it up in okay, let me reference back to this. Mm-hmm. This is why I'm anxious about the behavior that you're showing me, is because whenever this starts happening, this is the result.
Yeah. So,
like, I think that that's 1,000% normal, but do you want that to be a part of your friendships? Mm-hmm. Because, like, my thing is, like I said, I took a rough path in my healing because I ran from therapy for so long. Mm-hmm. And I'm very lucky that the people who saw me through that saw me as someone who was worthy mm-hmm. of sticking by and being there for. But, like, if any of my friends would have stopped being friends with me during that terribly crazy time in my life, mm-hmm. I also would have been like, valid. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm lucky that they didn't, but that's not the case here. Mm-hmm. The case here is this person made a decision that made them feel good, but made you feel terrible. And they're doing it with no remorse. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, that's not a friend. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, that's someone that doesn't respect you. Mm-hmm. If you don't have respect, you ain't got nothing. If you don't have respect and communication, it's not there.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, fully honest and open. Like, it was 21, 22. It had to have been 22. 2020, end of 2021, beginning of 2020. I was a horrible person. Like, it was maxed out on depression, maxed out on anxiety, mm-hmm. like cards declining.
Right.
And I was living by myself in my grandparents' house, who had just passed. Mm-hmm. So I was living in their house with all of their things, all of their belongings. I was living on top of them.
Right.
It felt like, and that's when I first started doing theater.
Right.
Loved it.
Right.
It was a good outlet.
Yeah.
And then I was just horrible. Like, I was so mean to my friends. Because I didn't know how to prioritize and organize my feelings.
Right.
And really work through what I was feeling and why I was feeling them. And the best route to move past it.
Right.
And now, I think the end of last year and then this beginning of this year, it's really like been eye-opening to see what's possible with therapy and knowing where to place things and what to do with it. I'm trying to word things correctly without giving away everything.
No, but I agree. But like the point you brought up in therapy, because my thing is like my terrible time was really from 2019 to honestly probably like 2021, 2022. Because I, had a few traumas happen in the year 2018 back to back to back. I was in a really bad place. It wasn't necessarily that I was trying to be mean or rude to people. I feel like I was just probably really difficult to communicate with. Because I feel like whenever you are, and you talking about, your depression and anxiety, whenever you're lost in a bout of depression, it's like people are talking to you, but their sentences are all backwards, if that makes sense. Like, it's like you're starting from the end and working your way to the beginning. So you're kind of understanding what people are saying, but you're so tunnel vision that all you can think about is, well, this is what my brain is saying. Which is why therapy is so important, is because you can externally process and you have someone there not necessarily changing your thoughts. It's more so helping you navigate them to help you learn, okay, maybe this is the best decision for this. And so I do therapy Thursdays, like every Thursday or every other Thursday. Best believe I'm in therapy, whether I'm going through a really rough time or I'm going through a really great time, because there's always something to talk out and sort out, because everyone's brain is running on level 5,000. So back to, since that side rant, you brought that up, so I wanted to harp on that. Before I did therapy, I think I was really hard to communicate with sometimes. Yeah, and it's like people would offer me really good advice, but if it didn't make sense in my head, yes, exactly. If it didn't make sense in my head, like right off the bat, it was immediately another point of frustration. But it wasn't like I was frustrated at the situation. I was frustrated at the person that pointed it out. Yeah. So it was like misdirected anger.
Oh, that used to aggravate me so much.
Yes.
When they'd be like, "Why don't you just do this?"
Right.
I'd be like, "Hey, I have a gun."
Right. Or I'd be like, "Hey, why don't you mind your business?" And then you remember, like, wait, no, they're talking to me to help me out because I let them know that I was going through a rough time and I needed, some advice or some support.
One of my friends literally told me that during that span, give them anxiety to hang out with me. Right. Because it was just the energy that I gave off was horrible. And I'm like, that's scary.
Yeah, well, I will say this, because we've talked about like a lot of the sad things that come out of situations like this. But I do want to take a moment to highlight the positive things that come out of going through trying times. Like, number one, you learn yourself more.
100%.
Yeah, you have to get real with yourself and look in the mirror and go, okay, you are wonderful and you are great, but let's self-reflect. 100%. Let's take a moment to self-reflect, and then whenever you start self-reflecting and you start working on yourself, you can appreciate things a lot more. You can appreciate people a lot more whenever you value yourself and you care about yourself enough to put yourself to the forefront sometimes. And you get wickedly funny. You know what I mean? Like, the more traumatized you are,
the
funnier you're gonna be. And that's why I love it when people are like, "You're so funny. Have you ever thought about trying stand-up comedy?" And I'm like,
trauma.
yeah, and I'm like,
yeah,
you know that I've been down a few different roads. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there are benefits that come out of it, but I think as far as, you know, the topic of like valuing yourself and valuing yourself in relationships and stuff, like I said, it took me really 7-8 years to get to the point I'm at right now, and I am happily in a, you know, committed relationship with a man who really does value my emotions and puts those at the forefront. And you know, I do the same with him, but it's a relationship where finally I know that my feelings, my thoughts, anything that could be going on with me in the moment, he truly does care about, but it's because he knows I value my emotions and I value his, and he does the same. So I think it's also finding someone who's on that same level, because I think in relationships, even in friendships, codependency becomes an issue. And I had a situation with a friend that I had been friends with over a decade, and we had to take a step back from our friendship, and like we had that conversation because there was a little bit of a situation, and we both said, you know what, we need to take a step back from this friendship for the next however long until we can sort out these feelings. And she and I, it took us 6 or 7 months, if not a little bit longer, to get through all that anger that we didn't like.
Sorry, I seen.
Yeah, sorry. No, that freaked me out. But it, you know, it took us quite a bit of time to navigate what that looked like and what that would be like. And, you know, I don't know if we will ever be on the same level that we were, but I think that that's a good thing, because we were so close. It was venturing into codependency, and that wasn't fair to her nor me.
No.
So I think it takes two people who are very emotionally aware and emotionally conscious in any relationship.
And I think that's like, even during one of my other friendships that seemed to dwindle out, but one of my friendships during 2022, 2023, that era,
Right.
that we both, me and her both, weren't emotionally aware in this situation, because obviously I had just lost both of my, like, one set of grandparents.
Right.
Like, my grandfather and his wife, like, or his wife died obviously first.
Right.
So my granny died first, and then he died 7 months later.
Yeah.
So it was so quick.
And that's a lot for a person to process. I mean, that's 2 big losses in a short amount of time.
And then she was in this, my friend was in this really toxic relationship.
Yeah.
So she was putting all this emotional energy into that, and I was putting all this emotional energy into loss and regaining strength, stuff like that.
Right.
And I don't think we were both mentally aware of the fact that we were dependent on each other.
Same.
To the point of every Friday we knew we were hanging out. Like, it was the point of, if somebody's like, my parents wouldn't make plans on Fridays because they knew me and my friend were hanging out.
Right.
They wouldn't make plans on the weekends because they knew I would be with that friend.
Yeah.
And if they did make plans, they would let my friend know that we were doing that, so they were invited.
Right.
I was going on family vacations with my friend.
Right.
Like, that's how close, dependent we were on with each other. And it got to the point where, I know that's like a toxic trait of mine.
Yeah.
Ish. It's something that I don't want to go back to. Like, I want to remain independent.
Absolutely.
And focus on myself more than having to rely and use someone as a crutch to get through life. Because it got to the point where I was using that person to bring joy in my life during a dark time.
Right.
And I didn't know how to, when I wasn't around them, it was like, what's life?
Right.
And I had to really figure out what makes me happy, what makes me tick, and what can I do to make my life better for me.
Right.
And then I had to, we stopped talking for a year-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I even told her, I was like, we'll never be to the point where we were. Like, and it's okay.
Right. And like, that's in the words of my friend that I'm talking about, she always goes, hey, no tea, no shade, no lemonade. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing like that. And I mean, me and the friend I was talking about, we were talking on the phone the other night. And, you know, like, we still say I love you before we hang up the phone. Like, it's nothing personal, but it's the hard thing, especially as an empath, is to not lose yourself in that, to not develop those codependency issues. But it is so natural to go into that. But again, I think that boils down to all the work and all the time you're putting into stressing and fretting about your relationship with other people. First of all, are you happy with who you wake up with in the morning? Like, are you cool? Because one thing that my therapist, you know, well, the therapist I had before this one, a couple of years ago, shared with me, that stuck with me, is she said, yeah, but, because I was going through this, and she said, yeah, but how do you feel about you?
I would have cried.
I did. Like, I didn't know how to answer the question, because in the moment, my first reaction was not something I wanted to say out loud. You know what I mean? Because, like, I didn't like myself. I didn't like the person I'd become. I didn't like, you know, anything about my life except for the fact that my son was flourishing. That was the only thing I was like, well, Oliver's doing great. So I know I'm being a good mom, being the best mom I can be in this trying time. And she said, yeah, but that aside.
Yeah.
Just you. And whenever she saw I couldn't answer it, she said, I'll say it like this. She said, you are the person you wake up with every single morning, and you are the person you go to bed with every single night. How you feel about you matters. And for some reason, that set off that light bulb in my brain, and I was like, I should probably get to work on that. Because right now, I'm not a big fan of who I am.
That's how I was during that time.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you one good trait about myself.
Right.
Like, did I think I was a good person? No.
Right.
Did I care to be a good person? No.
No.
And it was okay.
And you, like, we really do get to that point where you're like, and you know what? C'est la vie. You know what I mean? And you know what? What of it? But, I mean, there's definitely more to life than that. And you have to care about yourself enough. Because another thing is how you promote yourself, how you show up is how people are going to treat you. Exactly. So, like, if you don't come to bat for yourself,
why would anybody else?
Why would anyone else do it? And I mean, like, that could be a toxic way of looking at it. I don't think it is, because I am very much a sales investment person. Like, you know, and I show up to places looking like Adam Sandler daily, and it's places where, like, I'll be honest, I don't care. You know, like, I don't care. There are places I show up looking like a 10.
100%.
Because you best believe you gonna respect and hear me in the situation. So
that's how whoa, I just lost all of my train of thought. It said, hey.
It said, hey, bye.
Hey, I'm out.
And you know what? If you see it, catch it.
Hey, and it left.
It did.
Hey, it's in California right now.
Right. But no, I mean, I think you taking a moment or taking a few moments to step back and reflect like you have over the situation, because I've been able to, be with you throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think taking a few moments to evaluate it is a really good first step, though. Because, that does show growth. Like, you're not spiraling out mad, you know what I mean? Like, doing terrible things, you know what I mean? Like, you could, but I'll even say this. You haven't even badmouthed this person.
Mm-mm.
Even in talking about it, like with me and with your friends, you've been so respectful and kind. Like, you haven't said one bad thing. Meanwhile,
I think I actually talk them up.
You do.
Like, quite literally, I make them seem like a good person.
Right.
Good person, even though, like, everyone else is like, hey.
Hey, no.
And I'm like, but.
You're...
Guys.
They have nice hair.
They said hey to me.
Right. And you know what? Like, and again, it's no tea, no shade, no lemonade. But if the friendship is not for you, there's nothing wrong with communicating that. There's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I know that this may hurt your feelings. And that's the last thing I want to do. But I don't think that this is the healthiest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I wish it was.
Mm-hmm.
But you're requiring a little bit more time than I have.
Yeah.
And to that I say, for everyone listening who is saying, that's so rude. Why would you ever say that to somebody? My answer to that is the first thing I learned in therapy, and that's called boundaries.
Yes.
And boundaries are good things. Whenever we hear someone putting a boundary up, we're like, oh, stiff-armed. Exactly. Boundaries are necessary. They're healthy. They're necessary. They're put in place for a reason. People are going to make you feel bad for having boundaries sometimes. Not their business. Not their business, not their place.
Mm-hmm.
So,
if you do have boundaries, it is your duty to communicate those boundaries.
Absolutely. You can't assume that people just know. Because that would be crazy.
You have to communicate throughout the boundary.
Absolutely.
Like, if it's like, I need a week, like, to myself. Like, I've got to communicate with my friends. Like, hey, I just need a week. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and just ghost my friends. Well, I could. But I'm just saying, you shouldn't. You shouldn't just sit there, okay, bye. You should be like, hey, I need a little bit. I'm going through it.
Right.
Mentally, I need a break. I need to self-evaluate. I need to get right with myself.
Right.
Get in a good headspace. And I'll be back.
Right. Well, and I love the way the girls in the group chat do it, because I'm in a group chat with 4 of my really good girlfriends, and we, like, I want to say specifically, no, all 5 of us have moments where one of us is not as active in the chat for like a week or 2 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And after the first 3 or 4 days, we're like, she hasn't responded in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm usually that friend where I'll send a text and I'm like, hey, I'm just checking in. Are you good? Do you need anything? And, sometimes before I can even do that, they text into the group and they're like, hey, sorry I've been MIA. I've been working on XYZ. Mm-hmm. I'm stressed to the max with this. Or simply, I've been down in the dumps and I just haven't been able to bring myself to respond.
Mm-hmm.
It's being able to be open about that stuff.
Yeah.
That a lot of people like to shame.
And it's also the fact, it's the people. Never mind. I was gonna throw a little bit of shade, but I'm not. I am gonna say you can't always be going through something.
Correct. And if you're always going through something, or you're always down in the dumps,
get help.
Absolutely.
Hey, there's therapy.
There's therapy. If you're on medication, you can talk to your doctor.
If you're not on medication, get on medication.
Let's say if you're not on medication, drop your number in the comments or send us a message, because my psychiatrist is amazing. Mm-hmm. And I'm very open about my mental health journey. Shout out meds. Shout out therapy.
Shout
out my therapist, right? Shout out
Prozac.
My psychiatrist. Yeah, like, we have resources, we have tools.
Mm-hmm. And there's no excuse to not use them.
Right, and if you think that people are going to judge you for it, that's proof that they need help too.
Exactly.
Because if you're going to judge somebody for doing what's best for them and best for their brain, there's something wrong with you, babe.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't on me.
Well, I think this episode has been the longest one. We really went in.
We did.
And that did not feel like an hour.
No.
Of babbling about that.
No, but I mean, it felt good.
Yeah. It needed to be done.
Yeah, it did. And we covered the podcast topic. You definitely gonna be getting home late.
Hey, and it's okay. Oh, I'll get home at 11. Yeah, it'll take an hour.
It's not bad.
Okay, so real quick, what is your hot take of the week?
Ooh, my hot take for the week. Oh, I got this. School lunches. We pay so much in taxes, and y'all can't give these kids better lunches.
Exactly.
Really? Like, some of the food they serve looks scary.
Hey, it looks like it'll bite me.
Right, and that's not a reflection of the lunchroom staff.
Mm-mm.
It's all about the products they give y'all, and what I'm saying is, government do better.
Hey, I've, like, at this point, sometimes in school, when I was in school, it was like, do I have all my shots?
Literally.
Because it was like, is this thing going to attack me?
Right.
Is this thing going to eat me, or am I eating it?
Right. Well, and also, like, if they're serving something and you have to look at it, and you have to squint to try to guess
At what it is.
Oh, hell no. I don't like it. I don't like it. What's your hot take?
Hot take.
Yeah. It's kind of hard.
Air dry clay.
Air dry clay?
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
But making little sculptures out of air dry clay.
Okay. I love that.
Okay, because it is like I'm constantly trying to have like some form of art.
Yeah.
Constantly going. And I have quite literally gotten so into air dry clay. Like, two of my friends for Christmas, I made them a Polaroid picture holder out of air dry clay.
Cute.
And I also tried to make like their face out of air dry clay. Hey, guess where it is? On my bedside table.
Right.
Because I was like, why do they look scary?
Right.
Hey, this is my sleep paralysis demons.
Right. Well, and picture holder, like Polaroid holder, that I understand. that I fully support. But also, like, I'll watch like the claymation, like, Christmas movies and stuff because my dad loves them and we watch them every year. But even as a child, scary. Like, I'm 30 years old and I still like jump scare sometimes. But like, I think they're a great form of art. But like, just don't give them faces.
Don't give them faces.
Don't you dare give them personalities, especially likable ones. Like the little dentist elf on Frosty the Snowman. I hate claymation, but that elf just wanted to be a dentist.
And that's all he wanted.
That's all he wanted. Just let the man clean teeth. He don't want to make no damn toys.
Exactly.
Just, you know what? Give him the floss. Give him the floss. I'm sitting down.
Give him the sucker. Sucker.
The sucker. Give him the
little sucker thing.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Hottie Nation. So, remember this week, get into clay.
Get into clay.
Hey, Fist the clay.
We want it up to your elbows.
Mm-hmm. Shoulders.
Look, neck even.
Mm-hmm.
Neck deep in the clay.
And stand up for your kid's lunch.
Yeah.
Because God knows that lunch is standing up.
Right. And you know what? If your kid goes to school where lunch is provided, as a mom, I'm just going to say this. Pack a lunch.
Mm-hmm. And send them a PH kit.
Literally make sure that they are up to date on all their shots. And also don't forget that you're hot no matter what.
And period.
Yeah. Prioritize no matter what your chemical imbalances is your chemical, no matter what your chemical imbalances is no matter what they are, which is the correct word I'm looking for. Choose yourself. Prioritize yourself. I'm making eye contact with Tyler as I say this. And also, it's okay to walk away.
And it is.
It is. It is totally okay to walk away from a friendship or a relationship that's not benefiting you in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. Yep. So sometimes that's the healthiest thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. Now time for the pledge.
All right. 1 second, I gotta pull. I'm still practicing, so I gotta pull it up.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready, Hottie Nation? Remember,
no uggos. No uggos.
Uggos, we told you. Get out.
Yeah, you're not a part of this pledge.
Get out. God, log off now.
Log off. Yeah, if you're an uggo, go ahead and leave. Hotties, stay.
Go ahead and diddle the like button, though.
Right. Subscribe.
Okay, Hotties, ready? 3,
yes.
2, 1.
I solemnly swear to romanticize my life, charge a premium for my energy, and never lower my standards, unless it's for a discount on designer. I will say no like it's a full-time job, hype myself up like my own PR team, and remember that being a hottie is a mindset, not a measurement. In hotness we trust, in mediocrity we dust. Amen. Woo!
See you next week.